The purpose of WealthTalk is to educate, inform, and hopefully entertain you on the subject of building your wealth. WealthBuilders recommends you should always take independent financial, tax, or legal advice before making any decisions around your finances.
Today's episode is brought to you by WealthBuilders Membership, a proven step-by-step process that helps you achieve financial security within 2 to 3 years. To find out more, head to wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership. Welcome to this week's episode of Wealth Talk. My name's Christian Rodwell, the Membership Director for WealthBuilders, joined today by our founder, Mr. Kevin Whelan. Hello, Kevin.
Hi, Chris. Good to be with you again. And what an interesting story we've got to explore today.
Indeed, yeah. Coming back from summer breaks and hopefully our listeners have enjoyed their summers. And indeed, we have as well, Kevin, taking time as we do during the summer just to reassess and look at the business ready for a full charge in towards the end of the year.
Oh, I love that. And I always like to come back refreshed, recharged and ready to go with probably a new acronym somewhere. And I'll be sharing something soon on that one. But always great to have a little bit of break. You need that, you need to genuinely recharge your batteries. So nice to have something almost related to the children and their summer holidays today.
Isn't it? Yeah, kind of back to school theme today. And if you've been a listener of Wealth Talk for a long time, you might remember back in March 2022, where we interviewed the founder of ActionCoach, Mr. Brad Sugars. And ActionCoach is, of course, the world's #1 business coaching franchise, which he started in 1993. And they work with adults. Obviously, Kevin, business owners. However, today we've got Denise Pitot, who's heading up the ActionCoach Foundation. And their goal is to take the core elements of the ActionCoach model and teach and provide that for free to children between the ages of 12 to 22 so that they can turn their ideas into real life businesses for themselves.
And what a great idea that is too. And it's something that's very close to our heart. And we know it's close to the heart of many of the people we have really great strategic relationships, people like Simon Zucchi and so on. We mentioned him before, but I think it's very powerful when we've seen a lot of kids get their results recently, and some of them will be moving on to new schools or new colleges or new universities and so on. But the focus always seems to be about jobs and job seeking and job hunting and careers counseling. There doesn't seem to be any counseling that talks about being an entrepreneur as a genuine career option. And I think the foundation, which is really about teaching some of those entrepreneurial skills, and of course there are some very solid foundations in ActionCoach. The two messages I always pick up when I speak to Brad, one is, build a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you. And that's a laudable thing. We add the recurring income theme, of course, which is important. But the other is the purpose of a business to give you more life. And for most people, they work in a job for so long, they never become financially independent, even after 40 years of work. So if you can build that and teach those skills to a young person so they can be financially independent in their 30s or 40s and set them up for life, why wouldn't you give that a thought?
Absolutely. And we created a foundational program for families. We launched that at the end of last year, and that's available for all of our members. But today, Denise is going to talk more around the business pillar and having those initial business ideas, how to create a business plan at a young age, have a vision. And they've created the Young Entrepreneur Smart Start program. And if you're a parent now and you think you'd be interested perhaps in your child getting involved, then stay tuned because we'll be sharing details at the end of the interview with Denise as to how you can apply. So I guess let's time to head over and listen to our conversation today with Denise Pitot. So I'm very pleased to be joined by Denise Pitot from the ActionCoach Foundation today. How are you, Denise?
Hi, Christian. Great to be here. I'm absolutely top of the world. Excited to be able to share with you today.
Yeah, it's a really, really good subject that we're talking about today. Something that's certainly close to our hearts as well, which is, education for the whole family. But today we're really looking at the next generation, the children, and how we can start to educate them and help them to become the business owners of tomorrow. And the ActionCoach Foundation is doing some amazing stuff in this area. So glad to have you on. Let's talk about the foundation then. So how did you become involved with the foundation, Denise? And tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, the foundation, it's certainly something very exciting. And I'm so privileged and proud to be part of the ActionCoach Foundation. I started with them 6 months ago. I have an action coach in South Africa when I had businesses in South Africa. And when I knew I was moving to the UK, I said to my coach, don't you have any contacts in the UK? And he connected me with Ian Christodoulou. So I had a meeting with Ian and Julie and subsequently got this job. And they said, we're going to put you into the ActionCoach Foundation. And it was the first I'd really heard about it. The foundation at the moment in the UK is really at ground level. So when I took it over in January, we needed to go through the whole process of setting up a board, setting up everything to do with the foundation, all the documentation, everything that goes with it. But I'm really proud to say that we're at a stage now where we're ready to lift off and do our first educating of young people in the UK.
And you've created what you're calling the YES program, YESS. I'm sure that's an acronym that stands for something, right?
It is, because you spell yes with a double S for us. It's the Young Entrepreneur Smart Start program. So we believe that we're giving a smart start to young budding entrepreneurs. And certainly the stats in the UK, which I believe are global stats anyway, that startup businesses have a very poor success rate. And we believe that if we can give young people the right kind of business education, we can give them the right start and just make them that much more likely to succeed. And so, our goal is to change the future economy of the UK.
You have quite a specific goal, don't you, which is to educate 1,000 children each month. And as you said, you're right at the starting point now. So it's a very exciting phase. And what age groups in particular is this focused at?
So we educate between 12 and 22-year-olds. I'm going to be doing the first cohort now in September, as I mentioned. So we'll have two age groups running, 12 to 15 and 16 to 22. And I'm looking forward to testing it and seeing how it goes. Globally, these are the age groups that ActionCoach Foundation educate. And I'm curious to see firsthand. I've got an almost 12-year-old, so I'm curious to see how she engages with the program as opposed to a 22-year-old. I'm curious to see how their ideas about business are different, how sort of their enthusiasm might be different at different ages. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to finding out a whole lot about how this program is going to help children at different stages and different journeys of their sort of business career, and those that don't have any idea that they want to go into business as well. I just think it's great information for them to learn. They're all going to have households that they're running and have budgets, that they need to manage and have aspirations for whatever it is that they want to do.
Before you tell us a bit more about how the program works, what actual, topics and subjects will be covered and perhaps, over what period of time that's going to be. This, of course, is based on, the foundations that the Action Coach, franchise, which was started and founded by Brad Sugars many years ago. In fact, maybe but we certainly had Brad as a guest on the WealthTalk podcast back on episode 145. So some time ago now. And Brad's just such an enigmatic, amazing character, so knowledgeable. And, the foundations of Action Coach, of course, are about, fundamentals, five ways and sales and marketing. So will some of those elements be brought through into the training that you're providing for the children here?
Absolutely. We would be doing a disservice if we didn't, because this is the global award-winning strategy, that we teach. The foundation just aims the content at a younger audience. So where our coaches are coaching adults, we'll be focusing on the youth, and the content is tailored to attract them, to meet their that they can work with it and they can deal with it. But absolutely, the first 4 weeks, we're just talking mindset. So that's something that every young person can benefit from. So in those first 4 weeks, we talk about getting your mindset right, because as a business owner, if you're not in the right headspace, you're not going to be successful anyway, are you? So we certainly spend a lot of time doing that. And then, yes, we do. We go into the 5 ways and the 6 steps of business success, certainly covering marketing. They'll have a vision board. And by the end of it, they will have a business plan. So if they do have a business, they're ready to go and ask for finance and a video pitch. So it's it's quite comprehensive. It's a 12-week program. And then, of course, at the end of it, once they graduate, they'll get access to Brad's content for the next 6 months. So, I mean, that in itself is huge.
And what's the goal then at the end of that? It's that, as you say, they will have a pitch, they'll have a business plan, they'll have a clear vision. And depending obviously on whether they're at the younger end, perhaps, the 12-year-olds and not going to be in a position perhaps to start a business right there and then, but certainly they've got the wheels turning about thinking about ideas and certainly having a different perspective on how they see things. But certainly for those leaving perhaps school or those at university, they're in a position where, actually getting a business up and running is the next stage. So the network, I imagine, that comes with this is going to be invaluable, not just the people that they'll be meeting on the course itself, but then opening up to what you say is a global network, right? So not just the ActionCoach Foundation in the UK, but across the world.
Absolutely. And it's something that I am so excited about, because I think back to myself when I was a young person and just starting. I was a dance teacher and I started sewing leotards and selling leotards. And, I was quite entrepreneurial at a young age. And I just think that if I had had access to people around the world of my age group, that had similar sort of ideas, what kind of a difference that could have made to me. So this is an opportunity for all the young graduates that are coming through our YES program. They will be part of the global YES community, and they'll be able to meet with young people from America, from Jamaica, from South Africa, Lithuania, all over the world. And who knows what doors that could open. Just engaging with them, interacting with them, sharing ideas with them. And then if you do have a business idea and need assistance, my gosh, you've got the whole world at your fingertips.
And that's the thing, isn't it? In the last, 2-3 decades since perhaps we were at school and growing up, and, the opportunities available now compared to then are just immense. Technology, social media, accessibility, the internet, right? Just, having everything at your fingertips, which we didn't have then. However, whilst all of that has changed and made it so more, accessible, but easy for young people to start businesses, they literally just need a social media profile now and a TikTok shop and that's it. They could be making money straight away, right? With a PayPal account. However, the school system and the education system hasn't really advanced at that same pace, has it? And they're pretty much teaching, the same amount of business education and financial education. Yeah, which is close to nothing. And, of course, we're not aiming at any sort of attack at the schools or teachers, but we know that they're slow to move and to change with the times. However, I know that part of the work that you're doing, Denise, is very much going to be aimed at working with schools. So tell me, how do you see yourself approaching that?
I'm hoping that as soon as the schools, and I think the first schools who come on board are going to have a huge advantage. If we can engage with the schools and show them that we have the content's free. We have the content. We have the workbooks. We do the marking. We do everything around the course except the delivery of the material. So the course is designed that it's video content that the students watch. It's about an hour a week. So it'll be a 10-minute video and then a little quiz and then another 8-minute video and ask some questions, do a little homework. There's a workbook that they can work through. And then once a week, the idea is that they sit with a facilitator. Now, obviously, the first cohorts that we put through, I'll be doing those and I'll be doing those virtually. So they'll be online. But the idea is with the school that the students are at school. So it's so much better to meet in person. And if they've got a teacher at school, they can meet with the teacher. So as a group, the teacher sits with them for half an hour to an hour once a week, asks questions, just gauges for understanding, making sure that they've completed the homework that was, the week's work that was, that hour that was meant to be done. Make sure that they understand what they've learned. And that's it. That's the sum of the involvement that I need from the school, is just that 1 hour once a week. The course content is actually 9 weeks, and then there's 3 weeks catch up. So at the absolute worst case scenario, I need 9 weeks from the teacher of half an hour to an hour. And like I say, we'll give them all the content and everything. We even give them examples. So there's really not much research, not much prep that needs to be done ahead of time. So that's what I need from the schools. I would just love them to get excited about wanting to give this education to their students so that their students go out and can be more successful business owners. And if we have successful business owners, we've got employers and we'll have more people employed. We'll have a better turnover. We'll have, a more successful UK.
Well, we've had previous guests on the podcast, Denise, who are managing to kind of infiltrate the schools and to get in there. So I think we can definitely make some introductions for you there to work collaboratively with them as well. Coming back to how the action coaches can get involved. And I think part of your vision is that the action coaches can become mentors in some capacity as this grows as well, right?
I mean, it's really important. If we're working with young people, their safety is of utmost concern. So, this is one of the reasons why we want to work with the schools. The schools have got all the DBS checks done. They're familiar with working with children. They know how to engage with the children in terms of, speaking to the young people in a way that they can understand what's being said. Our coaches are absolutely incredible coaches, world-class coaches, and they work with adults. So the idea is that they mentor a facilitator. The facilitator is the teacher, whether it's a youth leader or a teacher, as long as the DBS checks are done and they will work with the children, the mentors or the action coaches will just be there to guide the facilitators. So some of the terminology is action coach, obviously, because it's our content. And so if they needed assistance with understanding what that meant or how it's important, how it's relevant, then the coach would be there in the capacity as a mentor to help make sure that the right message is given to the young people.
Just looking at, again, kind of how you got into this yourself, and you mentioned some time spent in Mauritius. You went there with your husband and you set up the Mauritius Business Network. How did that come about as well for you, Denise?
Christian, I am a huge believer in networking. I think there is no substitute for meeting people in person. And I was very involved. It's funny because, when you say at school, what we learn at school and that sort of thing. When I left school, I didn't even know what networking was. It wasn't even a thing. It wasn't even in my, I don't even know if it was a thing back then. But once I started networking, once I learned about the power of networking, I just absolutely was addicted to it because you're just meeting new people all the time. You're building solid relationships with people and helping. When I did leave South Africa and went to Mauritius, I knew nobody, a few family members, and you don't want to lean on family when you're in a new country. So I was like, oh my gosh, I know nobody. There's no networking organizations. There were no formal networks. So I just put a post on Facebook and said, would anyone like to network with me? Let's talk business, come meet me for a coffee at a local coffee shop. And 50 people arrived to talk about business. And it was just lucky that because I had been involved in networking, I knew the agenda and, had all this prepared. And so when 50 people arrived, it was no problem. I was all ready with what we had to do and what we had to say. And it wasn't many months after that I decided I better start it as a business. And that was when Mauritius Business Network was born. And it was incredible just starting it from the ground up because obviously having been involved with networking previously, everything was established. So I had to start it from the beginning, much like I'm doing with ActionCoach Foundation now, setting the whole, all the documentation, all the processes and everything just on my own.
And what happened to the network when you left Mauritius?
I sold the network. So we were 400 members at the time when I sold. And then came over here and my family have just joined me. So I've been in the UK 6 months before they joined me. They've been here just over a month now. They fortunately came over in summer, leaving Mauritius. I left Mauritius and came over in the middle of winter.
Yeah. Baptism of fire. Yeah. But you're no stranger to working with high achieving business people. You've been doing this for over 25 years. And I'm putting you on the spot then. What's your definition of an entrepreneur, Denise?
An entrepreneur is someone who has a vision, has an idea that's going to make them money, and they just will do anything to make that work. They work the length of hours, they put the energy, they put their blood, sweat and tears, whatever is needed to make it work. It's not just somebody who wants to start a business. It's more than that. You know, someone who's going to put their heart, their blood, their sweat, their tears into making it work. There's no option for failure. That's an entrepreneur.
I like it. And do you feel that, you know, those, I'm sure, who are listening now and feeling and saying yes, you know, in their heads now, yes, that's me. I've got a vision. I'm passionate. You know, I won't stop until I've given it my all to make this work. Do you think that naturally rubs off on your children, that mindset, that kind of go-getter attitude? And, you know, of course, some children, they will, you know, receive that and they'll be excited by it. Others just it might not be their thing, right? You can't push it upon them. But do you feel that energy, it does pass on?
I want to believe that it does. I really want to believe that it does. I mean, I look at my daughter now, she's almost 12 and she's only been in the country for 5 weeks. And she started a business.
Brilliant. What's her business?
Her business is the Little Elves. And she went door to door to there's a lot of old people that live in our neighborhood. And you can imagine her and our neighbor, who's also a 12-year-old. It's these two young girls knocking on all the doors and handing over flyers that say, we're the little elves and we'll do all the jobs that you don't want to. So we'll pull up weeds, we'll wash your car, we'll wash your dishes, we'll take your dog for a walk, we'll wash the dog, you know. So they've actually done really well for themselves in the school holidays, earning themselves pocket money. I mean, this is just over the last 5 weeks. So in one way, I want to think, yes, it does rub off. But I think that it's, you know, for a lot of young people, it comes too easy when their parents are entrepreneurs and are successful. And, you know, sometimes it's too easy and then they're not forced into that. So I think that there's a balance between some that just have that drive and some that don't. But I'd like to believe that seeing your parents as successful business owners does give them a little bit more ambition to want to do it. Whether it gives them that drive, I'm not sure, but the want or the desire is there. But whether that drive, I don't know. Through the YES program and getting the mindset right, I'm hoping also by being someone outside that's teaching the children, you know, so very often as parents, we'll say one thing to our children and it just goes dunk, dunk, straight in, straight out. They don't always want to hear it from us. But hopefully they do retain some of it. But yeah, I'm not completely convinced that it is handed down to your children.
And what's the relationship between the parents and the children when it comes to the YES program? So will the parents be involved in some way? Are you encouraging the children to kind of share what they've learned with their parents?
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, the parents are so important because we need their support to help encourage the youth to stay on this program, to complete it. You know, it's not easy. They're going to be at school. They've got their schoolwork to do. Then I'm asking them to do another hour of extra work a week, plus meet with a facilitator. It's a lot extra. Plus they've got their sports and whatever outside activities they do and their friends. And it's not a small ask. So we really do need the support of the parents. And I think the more that the parents show an enthusiasm for what they're learning, the more they'll want to share with their parents and the more they'll want to do it so that they can teach their parents some of the ways that they're learning. And certainly at the graduation, we will invite the parents to come along. And I would love to see, you know, if we could do a graduation in person at a school and have the parents there showing their support, seeing, the pride on the parents' face as their child goes up to receive a business basics certificate. That's immense. That's critical, actually. So yes, we do need the parents' support.
I guess just to finalize things then, Denise, we talk about wealth giving you freedom in life. And there are many types of freedom, of course, the financial freedom, but time freedom, location freedom, like you going over to Mauritius and enjoying the lifestyle there, that being able to work and relax and have that choice. But a business that gives you freedom must be a business that works without you, right? And Brad's definition of a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. So will that fundamental be passed on to the children that, ultimately a business is there to serve you and that you don't want to become the slave to the business?
Absolutely. I mean, this is when we need to instill this message at a young age so that they can. Obviously, they'll need to work in their business to get their business off the ground. And because they're young, they've got lots that they need to learn as well through doing it themselves. But, if we look at some of the graduates, the past graduates that have gone on to be really successful entrepreneurs, they have definitely put into practice this concept of a business that works without you, because that's when we can really grow our wealth. So yes, it's the message that's put in right from this YES program. Absolutely.
So if anyone who's listening right now, Denise, would like to find out more, to apply, to enroll their children into the September cohort, or if they can't make that one, or if that gets filled up, then, the next cohort that follows that, where is the best place to go? I know you've created a special link for us. So would it be click that link and then what will be the process?
Yes, absolutely. So if they click that link, they'll fill in a short application and then we get started, So don't worry if they don't have a business idea. It's not critical. What is critical is that we have young people between the ages of 12 and 22 who understand that there is a possibility that they could be a business owner with the right information at their fingertips. So we want to give them that information. So if they have a desire, if somebody wants to go into hairdressing, they can be a fantastic hairdresser, but without the right business basics information, it's hard to be an owner operated hairdresser. So, everybody, it doesn't matter what line of business you want to go into. If you want to work for somebody else, still sign up, learn the business basics. We're looking for young people between the ages of 12 and 22 who are in the UK or live in the UK, who would like to go through the program. Click the link, sign up. If it's a school or a school governor or somebody who's involved with young people in some way, they can reach out to me as well. May I share my email address?
Yes, of course.
So it would be Denise Pitot, spelled Denise, DenisepItot at actioncoach.co.uk. Yeah, they're welcome to reach out to me as well. I'm looking for facilitators. I'm looking for students. And of course, if anybody would like to donate to our charity, that would be amazing as well.
Yeah. And let's just mention that. So is there any cost at all for someone to enroll in this program?
The program is absolutely free. So we don't charge anything. We do fundraise because there is a cost to us to educate the children. So I am asking if they're in a position to give a voluntary contribution. That would be amazing. But if they're not, no problem. Every child, until we've got no money in our bank account, every child will receive the education because we want them to be successful entrepreneurs one day. So just contact me.
Yeah. And as a foundation, you are in the process of setting this up to be a charity, right? And as you say, you'll be raising money, you'll be fundraising in order to grow and be able to achieve that goal of educating 1,000 children every month, which is absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. And I think, if there are any businesses out there that would like to do an ongoing sort of 10 kids a month, I won't turn that away.
Brilliant. Well, Denise, thanks so much for coming and sharing with us today. We're really proud and pleased to be working alongside and supporting you with this project. And I'm sure we'll speak again very soon.
I'm absolutely thrilled. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks, Christian.
Really enjoyed speaking with Denise there. And as you said beforehand, a lot of resonance between our message and Denise's at the Action Coach Foundation. So before we dive into some of those, Kevin, let's head on over to Trustpilot and read out one of the reviews that has come in this week. This one comes in from Ms. Davies, who goes on to say, WealthBuilders was recommended to me earlier this year after an introductory session with Kevin Whelan, brackets enlightening. Julie Cummings has assisted me with my application for a SAS pension. And I want to make a special mention of this experience because I have to say that I'm incredibly impressed with the excellent personal interaction and unwavering support that I've received from Julie. The SAS application was a steep learning curve for me, yet Julie consistently showed immense patience as well as providing clear explanations throughout this application process. Julie's support in assisting me to secure my SAS has been nothing short of exceptional. She has really made me feel reassured every step of the way and confident that I made the right choice in using WealthBuilders.
Well, I mean, it's brilliant to get acknowledgement for WealthBuilders as a company, for our ethics, for our integrity. But isn't it just amazing when someone of our team members, not an entrepreneur, not someone who's building or owning the business, but someone who resonates inside the business and is getting an outstanding note of mention. And we picked that up and we celebrated that in our own way inside the business. And well done, Julie, and well done the rest of the team who sometimes go unsung. And of course, every business has unsung heroes in there, not just the owners, the founders, and those who've got the visionary face of the business, if you like. So well done, Julie.
Okay, so let's look at some of the things that Denise was talking about there, Kevin. And I think, reminded me of when we were, looking at how to best set up and launch the Wealth Builders for Families program, because we were looking at, who do we aim this at? Do we aim this at the children? Do we aim it at the parents? Do we aim it at the schools? And Denise is looking to cooperate with schools. She's hoping that they will be facilitators within the schools, and then the action coaches themselves can mentor and pass on and create that structure. And, there comes some challenges with the education system. We've talked about this many times on previous podcasts, Kevin. Hopefully with the power of Action Coach, the international global business that this is, they will be able to make some headway in the UK with the schools.
I think it's a laudable thing to do. We made the decision very clearly that we would continue to teach adults, that we wouldn't get involved in the teaching of the children for two good reasons, really. One, we believe that to be a great teacher, you have to understand things and you have to secure your own oxygen mask first, so to speak, Chris. And the second is we didn't really feel it was right to take some form of forum or some form of online or offline work to deal directly with children themselves. We just thought it's best that the parents do that, and then we provide the inspiration and some of the education to help them build and pass on wisdom in their own way. You remember we encourage all of our business owners or families to create the wealth business, their family wealth business. And we hope that by giving them that inspiration of creating that, a name that truly inspires the whole family, that they'll rally around together. I think this is a more formal way of trying to bring entrepreneurship in that foundation to a much wider audience. And I think getting the cooperation of schools, as difficult as it may be, I mean, it's free of charge. It's absolutely backed by a great organization. And the coaches themselves seem to be very willing. And I've spoken to many action coaches, they want to help. And indeed, so would we. So if this gets the traction we expect it to get, we'd be more than happy to put some of our time for free to help mentor some younger people to be able to create businesses of their own. And we're so much looking forward to that and seeing the creativity that still lies within our kids, that our education system sometimes dulls them a little. And so that creativity is great. And you'll see that in some of our members who have young children who demonstrate that entrepreneurial spirit, that willingness to want to do something and add value. And I think Denise mentioned her own daughter too, didn't she?
She did. The little elves that were knocking on doors. It was so fantastic. And we hear many of those stories within the Wealth Builders community. Really good habits to get your children, just confidence building as well. It's not just about making money, but of course, understanding, the power of exchange of time and money, and at a young age, putting work in, getting feedback, all of those good benefits that come with that. And the different age groups is something we also deliberated over, Kevin, because the message that you aim at a 12-year-old around financial education is very different to that of a 13, a 16, an 18-year-old. And of course, that's something that Denise needs to consider as well.
It's a tough one, that one. Do you remember we interviewed the brilliant people at Go Henry, and they struggled with this one as well, with the age at which to start. There's so much evidence that the formative years of a child and their habits and their opinions and their sort of, I suppose, their judgments start to be formed around the 7-8 years of age mark. And so I think that's the time to start teaching principles. I'm not sure it's the right age for entrepreneurship, but it is the right age for participation, which is one of the values we have in our principles of the Wealth Builders family program. One of the principles is participation. So even just doing something, all kids have got busy lives, like parents have got busy lives, schools, after school clubs, homework, you name it, I'm sure they've got it. But putting a little bit of time to participate, sometimes just not necessarily for money, as you said, just giving back, giving something to older members of the family, or giving something to the local community, where you're giving something and that generosity starts to become an important part. We see so much in the news, don't we, about the lack of good spirit, the lack of generosity. So to encourage that in our young people, very laudable thing, but a difficult one to get into a program. And I wish Denise and the rest of the whole Action Coach community every success with their attempt to make this work. And we'd like to support it in any way we can.
Absolutely. So once again, the link, if you would like to find out more about the YES program, that's the Young Entrepreneur Smart Start program, then do click on the show notes from today and you'll be able to apply. Really simple application process, and then Denise and her team will respond to you. So we'll be back, Kevin, with more Wealth Talk in the coming weeks. But until next week.
Yeah. Till then, my friend, I'll see you. You've fluffed your lines. You've been away too long, haven't you?
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget that we are constantly updating our resources inside the Wealth Builders membership site to help you create, build and protect your wealth. Head over to wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership right now for free access. That's wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership.